Character select screens are really cool. They have so much style, personality, and you know the music is going to be jamming. I'd argue that the character select screen is one of the most iconic tropes in gaming. They're immediately recognizable, and there's something that's only really a thing in video games. So today, I wanted to look at the character select screens in the Sonic series because there are a lot of cool ones. Of course, it only makes sense to start with the early days of the franchise, so let's take a look at Sonic 2. Now, Sonic 2 allowed you to play as Sonic or Tails, as well as both of them together, but the character select screen was unfortunately pretty boring, just a bit of text in the options menu. Now, things get a little more interesting with Sonic Chaos. Here, we actually get a proper character select screen with sprites of the top half of Sonic or Tails inside of a ring. The background has a checkerboard pattern that fades in and out. Nothing too exciting here, but it's definitely a step up from Sonic 2. SegaSonic the Hedgehog actually shows off the full body of the characters this time around, and the sprites are actually animated. Sonic is pointing at himself, Ray is pointing at himself but with two hands, and Mighty is impatiently tapping his foot on the ground. The character sprites look good even if the animation is pretty limited. This is the first character select screen that we've looked at today that I'd say is pretty solid. Next up is Sonic the Hedgehog 3. The file select screen in this game doubles as a character select screen. Like in Sonic 2, we can play as Sonic or Tails or both, but we actually get to see the sprite of the character we pick. The music is also really good. It's this really upbeat song with a tropical vibe, which fits the setting of the game, Angel Island. The second half of the Sonic 3 and Knuckles experience, Sonic and Knuckles, has a much simpler character select screen, one that you can access immediately from the title screen. You can choose to play as either Sonic or Knuckles, although ironically enough, not Sonic and Knuckles, and they each have a cute little animated sprite next to their name, which I like. Sonic Triple Trouble's character select screen has full body sprites of Sonic and Tails, but they aren't animated at all, which is a bit disappointing. Knuckles Chaotix is interesting because its character select system is not exactly orthodox. Instead of picking your character on a screen, you play a little crane minigame where you have to grab the character you want from the ones that are available. I guess they did this to encourage you to try out multiple different characters as opposed to finding one pair that you really like and sticking with it for the entire game. We make our way into the world of 3D with Sonic the Fighters. Now, of course, with this being a fighting game, they had to make the character select screen good. At the bottom of the screen, you have nice little sprites of all the playable characters, but of course, the stars of the show are the brand new 3D models, all rotating around while doing their idle animations. The Sonic the Fighters models are pretty primitive and very noticeably blocky, but I love how bright and expressive they are. Another thing that helps this character select screen is the great music that plays. Now, if I was about to get into the ring with someone, this would be the perfect song to hype me up. Next up, we have Sonic Schoolhouse. Instead of playing as Sonic, you play as one of these original animal characters that make a sound and perform a very unnerving animation when you click on them. The character select screen for Sonic Blast is pretty simple. You can pick either Sonic or Knuckles, and each character does a little animation when hovered over. The only thing I have to talk about is the pretty bad looking sprites. They tried to do pre-rendered 3D sprites that just don't look good here thanks to the limited hardware and small size of the sprites. We move back to proper 3D models with Sonic R's character select screen. Although unfortunately this character select screen is nothing special. The characters just kinda spin around without doing any cool poses or animations. The music is good though, which is to be expected with Sonic R. Next up we have the character select screen for Sonic Jam on the Gamecom and... oh, yeah, the less we say about this monstrosity, the better. Moving along here, we have Sonic Adventure. Now, this is an iconic character select screen. All of the character choices are aligned in a circle, each with their own unique color for their name. By moving left or right, you can spin the wheel to get to the next character, and each of them do their own unique idle animation. When you actually select your character, they'll do a quick little animation and a voice line, just like Sonic Schoolhouse, except less horrifying. The only weird thing is that Super Sonic is a question mark on the character select screen, and instead of saying something cool, he just says, Next up, we have Sonic Adventure 2, and this game doesn't really have a character select screen so much as a story select screen. You can choose to either do the goody two-shoes story or the edgy try-hard story, and if you beat both, you get a question mark. I'm sensing a pattern here. The character select screen is actually slightly different depending on whether you're playing the OG Dreamcast SA2 or Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. The background in the OG is white line art of Sonic and Shadow over a sinister dark red background, while in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, it's got all 6 of the playable characters over a much more diverse palette of colors. While the music is good, this character select screen isn't great. I know this game has a multiplayer mode with a character select screen, but I'll be focusing on the character select screens for the main single player campaigns in this video. Sonic Advance has a pretty cool character select screen, nice looking sprites for all of the characters, and a great music with a funky bass line. Sticking with the Advance series, we have Sonic Advance 2's character select screen. They must have known how great the character select screen music was from Sonic Advance 1 because they reused it for Sonic Advance 2. However, I think Sonic Advance 2 has a better character select screen overall. They went back to the wheel from Sonic Adventure, but this time the characters are in 2D, of course. The sprites are a bit bigger than the character select screen in Advance 1, which is nice too. I like the moving white zigzag pattern, and I think the blue SA2 scrolling pattern in the background adds a bit more flair as well. Next up, we have Sonic Battle, another fighting game. While Sonic Battle's art style is cool and the font for the character names is rad, the character select screen itself really isn't much to write home about, so let's move on. Next up is Sonic Heroes. This character select screen is similar to the Sonic Adventure 2 character select, where you have a group of characters instead of just one, but this time we can actually see animated 3D models of all of the characters. The music here is one of my personal favorites for Sonic character select screens. It really nails that feeling of the start of a grand adventure. And that part at 40 seconds where the song goes from grandiose to bubbly and fun just gets me every time. This game has a last story like the Sonic Adventure games, but instead of getting a 3D model, it's just a menacing image file of Metal Sonic. Sonic Advance 3 has a really good character select screen. In fact, I did a whole video about the character select screen of this game. But to give you a quick rundown, you pick a character, but then you also get to pick another character as the partner character. Most of the team combos use generic names and sprites, but some of the team combinations have special ones. The Sonic and Knuckles combo is called Fighting Buddies, and the Sonic and Amy combo is a lovely couple. The unique names and sprites for the specific combos are what really makes this character select screen great. I just wish there were more of these special partner combos. Continuing on, we have Sonic Rush. There are only 2 playable characters this time around, really brings you back to the old character select screens. It's a pretty decent one though. You can either pick Sonic or Blaze. The top screen has artwork of the character and the bottom screen has a 3D model. The left side of the screen is blue for Sonic and the right side is pink for Blaze. Although, if you complete both Sonic and Blaze's campaigns, you unlock the Extra Zone, which is this game's equivalent of the last story from the adventure games. It shows Eggman and Eggman Nega on the top screen, and on the bottom screen, there's Sonic and Blaze. The best part about this is that it actually plays a bit of the final boss theme wrapped in black instead of the normal menu music that plays on the character select screen. It's little things like this that can take a character select screen from good to fantastic. What's not fantastic is Sonic 06's character select screen. It's not bad, just kind of your generic 3D characters idling in front of a background. The music is pretty good though, an instrumental version of Sonic's theme from the game, His World. Let's return to the world of Sonic Rush with its sequel, Sonic Rush Adventure. Sadly, the character select screen took a massive step back with this entry in the series. It's just still images of Sonic and Blaze's faces. The music is solid though, but it is so underwhelming compared to the first Rush game. In the following years, Sonic character select screens would become a lot less prevalent in single-player campaigns, mostly because for a lot of the mainline games, you'd really only play as Sonic. A lot of the character select screens from the other games just aren't all that interesting, and like I said, I wanted to focus on the single-player character select screens, not multiplayer, and even then, a lot of the multiplayer character selects aren't all that interesting either. So, we're going to be taking a massive jump of about 10 years here with the next game, Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania's character select screen takes obvious inspiration from Sonic 3's character select screen, but instead of full sprites of the characters, you see just the heads. Although, technically, Sonic Mania has 2 character select screens for single player, because in the Encore mode from the Sonic Mania Plus DLC, the character select screen is slightly different. Same idea, but the colors are different and the music is totally different. It's this much more sinister track with heavy kicks, that is until about 30 seconds in, when they just start breaking it down. Sonic Forces does have a character select screen technically, but there's not much to it. You just see a small picture of your character on the left side of the screen. Though it is cool that you can see a bit of the stage you're about to go to. Sonic Origins is an interesting game to look at because it retroactively adds new character select screens to some of the older games, like Sonic 1 and Sonic CD. they're fun enough, not much to talk about. Next up, we have Sonic Superstars, and unfortunately, again, there isn't much to talk about here. Things don't get much better with Sonic Dream Team, which is another game with a character select screen that it really isn't anything crazy. So yeah, not exactly the most exciting way to end this video off, but yeah, I think that's about it for this video. If you're interested in watching more videos like this, here's a whole playlist of videos for you to check out. That's all I've got to talk about for today though, so thanks for watching y'all, and have a great rest of your day.